If I asked you to choose Jameson or Proper 12, which one would you pick? Okay, now close your eyes. Try to think how it smells and how it tastes. Still got the same answer? That's what I'm doing today. Blind tasting Jameson and Proper 12 and deciding which one, based on my taste and my smell, which one I think is better. Okay, nose time. Now, if you know me, I'm not a huge fan of Irish whiskey. However, this one right here kind of smells like a Coors Light. Very crisp, very light. I always think that Irish whiskeys smell a little bit like nut water. The ones we're doing today are all triple distilled, so they're very smooth, no bite. Maybe a little banana, some yeast, a little bit of bread in this one. I'm not sure which one this is. Ooh, so this one has a little more of an oak spice into it. Probably one of the more richer Irish whiskey noses I've had in a bit. I mean, the only one I've had is Teeling, so it's not a huge step up, but this is actually pretty decent. This one has a bit of an ethanol bite to it. After you get past that oak spice, it's very raw, very harsh, not a whole lot going on to it. Let's go back to this one real quick. Now this one going right back just smells like a marker now. That bread, kind of like yeasty, almost banana crispness is all gone. There's a bit more character to this, but there's not a whole lot to these whiskeys. So let's see. I think my initial reaction before having this one, I'd say I would want this one, but now that I'm going back and forth, I'm gonna pick this one as my favorite of the noses, and I don't know which one it is yet. So I'm super curious what these things taste like. Okay, sip time. Whole lot of nothing. It's a little burny, very smooth. I mean, kinda spicy, just a little bit of pecan, some almonds. There is not a whole lot happening. I'm gonna do a second sip here. Definitely harsh. Again, this is just something that I think with these two whiskeys, they're like not bottom shelf. They're kind of like not top shelf either. They're just kind of like super cheap whiskeys. Go to the bar, mix them with stuff. They're not meant to be super complex and full of flavor. That's one of the reasons why they're triple distilled. So I'm not getting a whole lot of flavors here. The second sip was a little less harsh on this guy, but there's not a whole lot going on. I can't grab on anything, and the finish is almost non-existent. The finish here has no flavor. The finish is just straight ethanol burning, which is a little upsetting. So let's see what this one tastes like. Okay, there's actually a little bit of a cereal note in here, kind of weedy. Much more of a harsher back palate than this one. This one had like an all-encompassing taste. This one had a better taste up front than after you swallowed. Kind of the initial finish on the back of my tongue was really raw, kind of rubbery, not super good. Again, I'm not enjoying either one of these super crazy, but let's see what the second sip is on this guy. I'm just gonna say this one, it has one flavor. This one has almost no flavors. Like, I'm getting like a nice bowl of weedy cereal here. A lot of grains. It's a little crisper than this. That harsh note I was talking about on the first part of the finish is kind of gone now with that second sip. This one is just kind of just yucky. You know, I'm gonna do a third sip on this guy just to verify that I said that. Yeah, this one just like pierces your tongue, and not in a good way, not in a high ABV way, just in a bad flavor kind of burning way. It's crazy how much these things are burning, because you guys watched my video of my 135 proof Jack Daniels up here. I had a really visceral reaction to that. That was high proof, but it had so much flavor to it. This is just burning for burn's sake, which is funny because there's probably like 20% less alcohol here. I'm gonna give the palate to this one as well. It's a little more complex. It has a little more flavor. It's not a whole lot more flavor, but at least that second, like half of that finish, really weird harsh bite went away with subsequent sips. And after I swapped back to this one from this one, it actually tastes so much better now. It's definitely crisp. Not like an apple flavor, but like a nice crisp apple, you know? Just, you know what I mean when it like quenches your thirst a little bit. Again, it's very, very grainy, very corny, nutty. And it's not as burny on the finish that this one is. This one just burns for burn's sake. So again, palate goes to this one. Talk about the finishes. Okay, so neither finish is super good, but I think that this one is just burning my tongue just to burn my tongue. I can't get any flavors off of it. If I do, it's just a really like thin nut note, nothing crazy, nothing spectacular. This one, if you base it on the first sip, it's kind of gross. That like weird, harsh, rubbery note on the back tongue, kind of like, oh, what the heck was that? But then as you get into the dram, 2-3 sips in, it mellows out. It's a little crisper. It has a little of the oak spice, but a lot of like wheat grain, corn forward notes. And you can at least get those on the finish when you're talking and breathing on your tongue. So I think I'm gonna give the finish of this one as well. I think this one has won all three. This one, I just think this one just feels like an incredibly cheap product. And I know both these whiskeys are cheap. I actually have no idea how much Jameson is these days or Proper 12. Again, I've never had Proper 12. But I'm assuming Proper 12 was a little bit cheaper than Jameson. So I think if I had to guess right now, I'm gonna guess that this one is Jameson and this one is Proper 12. Strictly because this whole experience here tastes incredibly cheap and even smells incredibly cheap. There is not a whole lot going on with this one, but at least it has enough legs carrying it through the experience so you can actually tell, well, they at least tried with this. This is cheap, but you can at least say, yes, that was a whiskey. So now I'm gonna get my lovely assistant to verify if I am correct. Babe! Okay, I just verified. This one was Proper 12, this was Jameson. And again, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure that out. I think you all can do the same thing that I just did. This just tastes super cheap. This one, again, cheap, but a little more flavorful and a little more in-depth. So I actually really enjoy doing this. If you like seeing these blind versus videos, let me know in the comment down below. If you have 2 suggestions that you guys want me to do, I think the more fun ones are the really cheap ones because they kind of should all taste the same way and it'd be really hard to figure out which one is which. Unlike if you get ones that are like super expensive or one cheap and one really expensive, those aren't really fun, huh? So if you guys have 2 bottom shelf whiskeys or at least lower tier whiskeys that you guys want me to do a blind versus, comment down below, please. Like these videos, give it a like, and subscribe to it, consider doing so, and I'll see you guys next time.